What's up, everybody? It's your host of the Morning Beer Podcast, Adoree Davis, once again with another video. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. Basically, we're talking Giants football. We've been talking about a lot of Mets, a lot of pretty much this is a lot of Mets topics on this channel because spring training just started and it was a off season pretty much hot stove. But now we're into the football free agency. And the Giants are the talk of NFL free agency. We signed a lot of players, and right now we just signed Adoree Jackson last night, and then this morning we also signed outside linebacker from Washington Redskins, Ryan Anderson, to play outside linebacker. Maybe he's a depth position, maybe he's more of a leadership position, maybe a special teams contributor, but we have him to play outside linebacker, maybe not in a starting capacity because we're going to have Lorenzo Carter and Jimenez coming back. Shane Jimenez, Jesus Christ. Every show I mess up somebody's name. My apology. But we have X-Men coming back to play outside linebacker and to be our pass rusher. So Ryan Anderson is not much of a pass rusher. Probably more of a run stopper, set the edge and type of player. But, we'll have him. And I'm watching, if I'm looking this way, I'm just watching the Mets spring training game playing them on Miami Marlins. So I'm just taking a look over there. Stroman's pitching. But, excuse me. We're loaded now for this division, and we're pretty much the more completed team. And I'm not just saying this as a homer or just a Giants fan, but we're loaded in certain aspects where the draft we could go for more so than need. We could go best player available, but if I say we have a weakness that we need to probably still fine tune a little bit, it would be O-line, just to be a little bit safer. You could never have too much offensive line players. I know a lot of people still want the sexy pick of a wide receiver if it falls into our lap. If we get our hands on Devontae Smith, or if we get our hands on Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts is out the window. They're gonna go way before 11. But if we could get one of those players to totally dominate at all three wide receiver positions, that's totally fine in my opinion. We'll have a start of Galladay, Shepard, maybe Slayton, Shepard, and then even whoever we draft if we go in wide receiver. But we don't necessarily have to go wide receiver, and that's something that I mentioned in the last video that I made, and something I'm going to mention when I do the mock draft. We don't necessarily have to go wide receiver. I'm a big fan of Rashawn Slaughter, even though he's an offensive tackle, and we are more solidified on the outside or on the tackle positions. We do need to address the inside interior offensive line. So I'm looking more so like a Wyatt Davis, maybe even Tucker from USC as more of a viable option, and they're going to be a little bit later than 11. So I'm always willing to trade back, accumulate more pieces, get more starters, get more plays on the team that's talented, and slot them in. But if we were to stick at 11, we have a lot of options we go with. You could go ahead and double down on defensive back if you want. We just signed Adoree Jackson, who's a speed player. He ran at 4.3 when he was drafted out of USC to Tennessee Titans. He was somebody in that 2017 draft that I actually wanted, but he went to Tennessee. Been a starter for the first 2 years. First 2-3 years he was healthy, but the last 2 years he wasn't so healthy. Last year I think he only played roughly in about 3 to 4 games, and he's an outside cover receiver. He runs with the wide receiver. He stays with them because of his speed, and that's somebody that I would love to have him as a number 2, and he could be a number 1 on most teams, and he was a number 1 in Tennessee. So this is just, our secondary is loaded. All right, so our secondary, we're going to have in a nickel back, more so linebacker / safety position, Jabril Peppers. He could roam all over because we have the other 2 safeties going to be McKinney, who I'm totally excited about, and Logan Ryan, who I'm also equally excited about, who just signed with us for a few years. So I'm totally charged about what our secondary is going to look like, our safety is going to look like, our cornerbacks are going to be Jackson, and pretty much the All-Pro last year, Bradbury. So by all means, like, this is a great sign. We're gonna get a lot of coverage sacks because of the type of players that we have playing in the secondary. That's going to help our pass rush a lot more. That's going to help the fact that we could blitz more. That's going to help the fact that we could play man-to-man a lot easier and more comfortably without giving up the big play. So this could only help Leonard Williams. Even though we lose Dalvin Tomlinson, we also regain the ability to get coverage sacks, which I think is something we did real well last year, but we do even better now this year. If we go ahead and probably draft defense on the in the draft, I'm totally fine with that. Maybe a Micah Parsons if he falls to us. I don't think he'll last that long. Gregory Rousseau's going to be available at that time. Kwity Paye, a few other players are going to be available. I mean, this is not a deep pass rushing draft. Maybe you get Jalen Phillips at the back end of the first round, maybe going into the second round, might be there first and second round. Maybe a Wyatt Davis on the offensive line, which is interior offensive line, will be there. But we could also go defensive, interior defense. There's a few players, but they're a little bit further down in the draft. Barrymore from Bama is more of an inside linebacker to replace Dalvin Tomlinson. That was our biggest loss. We lost Zeitler and Tomlinson. Those are our two biggest losses. So I feel we could go. My opinion, and more so, David Gettleman is pretty much a hog molly for interior defense, interior offensive players. I could see him going either one of those routes if the draft is his call. I could see him going with the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman if this is his call. But if it's a Judge, Abrams, Kenny Abrams, who also works for the Giants, and Gettleman, and ownership decision in the draft, they might go best player available, and it just shakes. You have to see how the first 10 picks shake out before you're able to say this is what the Giants are going to pick. But if it's just Gettleman, I see him go O-line or interior defensive line to combat the loss of Zeitler and Tomlinson, and pretty much help make this playoff team. And then maybe a year to compete for a Super Bowl type of caliber team. So, because our defense right now is top 10. We were number 9 last year. Now, with the additions that we made to defense, yes, we lost Tomlinson, but the additions we made, solid additions. Ragland, out of Bingo, maybe I said his name right. Anderson, Jackson, these pieces that we put in play. We lost Fackrell because maybe Anderson was more so of a decision to let Fackrell go because Fackrell might be a little bit more pricey than Anderson. Anderson was only signed for 1 year, $1.1 million, which is the league minimum, and I think our salary cap money is right there. We're at the end of what we are able to spend, so we're fine with that, and pretty much save the rest of the money for the draft and stuff like that. But right now, defense must be somewhere closer, and when the season plays off, it might be a little bit closer to a top 5 defense, and that's if you're playing fantasy football, take the New York Giants, but it'll be even better depending on who we draft. We're definitely gonna get a defensive player in one of the first 2 or 3 rounds. So that's the state of the Giants right now. Just giving you a quick video and letting you know what's up and who we got. You probably already know. I'm always a day late, $1 short. So definitely like, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm the host of the Morning Beer Podcast, Adoree Davis. Peace.
Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely.